All right, y'all, we are live. What's up? What's up? What's up? What we got going this Friday night? What are we doing, you guys? Anyway, even if you guys do not catch this live, while it's live, it's okay. You guys can always catch the replay. But also what I'm going to do is I'm also going to leave timestamps. So whenever you tune in, whenever you, sorry, you guys, this is kind of like, I don't know, got my neck feeling weird, but whenever you guys do tune in, you guys could just use the timestamps and then go directly to the topic that I'm covering that you guys want to check out. But anyway, what are you guys doing this Friday night? What we got going? As you all can see, I'm in here and I'm chilling with y'all. I'm home and I'm chilling with you guys. What y'all got going? Huh? What y'all doing? Leave it in the chats. Today we are, or I should say tonight, this Friday night, we are going to be covering Steve Harvey and Monique and the Tiffany Haddish and Katt Williams. I already told you guys that I wanted to kind of use like the weekend when I'm able to. I won't be able to do this every weekend, obviously, but I wanted to kind of use like the weekends as a time to just kind of like catch up on the week's videos. And I'm just like selecting the ones that did pretty good. So I'm covering Steve Harvey, Monique, and Mark Curry. If you guys are not familiar with Mark Curry, he was hanging with Mr. Cooper. He was also, he's done a lot of stand-up work. You guys can also check out his stuff on, I'm sure they got it on YouTube. But I know he did a lot of stuff with Comic View and probably like BT. But he's very funny as well, Mark Curry. So I'm going to do that one. And then I'm going to do Tiffany Haddish, her firing back, her clapping back at Katt Williams, you guys. So just to start off with the Steve Harvey one, I would like to say, it's not even like a disclaimer, but it's like real. Like I'm a Steve Harvey fan in that I've always enjoyed his comedy, which I'm kind of finding out a lot of that, some of that, I'm sorry, Steve, is Mark Curry's. It belongs to Mark Curry. Just saying. But yeah, like I say, I've always been like a Steve Harvey fan. I like, his delivery, a lot of his stuff. When you listen to him, he just kind of sounds like, I don't know, like an uncle or a dad, just like a very like, okay, you're listening and you can kind of follow along. Always enjoyed it, but I was wondering, I posted stuff on my TikTok. If you guys have not checked out my TikTok, do check out my TikTok. You guys can. I have a lot of videos uploaded. My most recent stuff is like videos of me. But before that, I was doing a lot of like celebrity content. And I have videos of Steve Harvey on there. Very funny stuff. A lot of times I have like little clips of interviews. However, you guys, I was wondering a lot of times, like when I would post, when I would post, I hope you guys had like a good like dinner, things to, eat, to drink. I just had a little lemonade, a little heart lemonade. But anyway, so I'm kind of feeling a little buzz. But anyway, let's get back to the topics, you guys. So like I was saying, whenever I would post like Steve Harvey content, I would notice that on my TikTok as well as on YouTube, I would get, a lot of likes and stuff like that, comments, but I would also get a lot of people that were like, Steve Harvey, he's bogus, whatever, like make those type of comments and talk about Bernie Mac. And I never really took the time to like look into it. Not really. I'm just, I just figured that all celebrities, just people in general, you're going to have your certain amount of haters. You know what I mean? Like you just will. It comes with the territory. But in kind of looking up and researching more about Steve Harvey, So if you guys checked it out, I posted this video. I actually posted this video of Mr. Harvey. I like how that I just put a little respect on his name, but come on. I posted this probably like a few days ago. You guys, I posted this 4 days ago with Steve Harvey. And it covers it opens up and it has like a Mark Curry joke. Mark Curry, he's doing a joke, and then right behind that, you see Steve Harvey. He's doing the same, literally the same exact joke, and he's doing that, like really, I guess you could say verbatim, for Mark Curry. Mark Curry said that the joke, the situation, like joke, comedy, or whatever, was directly relating to his life and like stuff that had happened, to him. So he knows like it's not just like a random joke, cookie cutter joke. Like he knew, like, okay, like, yeah, he gave his Halloween jokes or whatever. The issue with that, I think, like comedians, and I didn't know until recently, like with the Katt Williams interview, like I didn't know that how competitive, not even competitive, but yeah, I guess you could say like competitive, the comedy scene is. But obviously, and it makes sense, like, so, a comedian takes the time to write, to situate their joke, and then somebody else with maybe a bigger name comes along and just like snatches it up. Obviously, like if they already have a certain amount of like fame behind them, the moment they do that joke and it's seen by so many people, it's like, it becomes theirs. But Mark Curry had complaints that Steve Harvey, like one Halloween, took like his whole Halloween run, like literally like just stole all of his content, really. Which, like is bogus. To me, Mark Curry is one of those comedians that, Katt Williams, he kind of opened up things for us to kind of like see and understand a little bit more. But like it's levels to it, like certain things you have to do to reach a level, apparently, allegedly. But to me, Mark Curry was never one of those like comedians that really, like, he did have his Hanging with Mr. Cooper show back in the day, but he's not one that you really hear about like since. He just kind of like fell off. I shouldn't even say he fell off because I don't know. But I mean, he's not in the mainstream as much as his counterparts like Katt Williams or Steve Harvey or Cedric or any, you know what I mean? Like Mark Curry has done his thing, but like, maybe I'm sure he's probably still does stand up from city to city. Maybe he does that. But not as well known, obviously, than as Steve Harvey. So for Steve Harvey to take his material, put it in, Mark Curry's complaint was that Steve Harvey, not only did he take his content, but like he put it on both of his platforms, the Steve Harvey show and some other show that Steve Harvey was hosting. So that is pretty bogus, especially and one of Mark Curry's complaints was that Steve Harvey makes a lot of money, has made a lot of money. Like, why was he taking food out of his mouth? Basically, was actually what he said. Why was Steve Harvey taking food out of his mouth? I get it, especially since Steve Harvey's kind of built his name off of, talking a lot of sense. I've always, like I say, I like to think like a man, act like a woman, think like a man. I've always like admired Steve Harvey, trying to, spit information out to women, to the youth, and just people. But that is not really aligning with his character. You know what I mean? Like if he's like upstanding and stuff like that. Mark Curry said that claim that he has confronted Steve before and asked him like, why are you taking my material? You keep taking my material. Like, why are you doing that? And then in that video, it shows like TMZ asking Steve Harvey directly about his Mark Curry stuff. And Steve Harvey just saying like, "Oh, I don't know what he's talking about. I haven't done stand up." And then the man's like, "Well, the guy that was asking the questions, TMZ reporter or whatever, was like, well, he wasn't talking about stand up. He was actually talking about like your shows that you've been taking. You know, you've been taking this material and actually posting it onto your platforms." And Steve Harvey's like, "Well, ask him about what joke? What joke? You know, I don't know. I just think like the moral, the moral of the story is that is contradictory. I suppose it's definitely contradictory. Like, you know, I think that at the end of the day, a celebrity is a person, a human being. We whatever we do right, we make mistakes, you know, whatever. We're human at the end of the day, but if you have built your platform around like, you know, do right, da, 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 you know, just stealing jokes, stealing, you know, and I'm sure now, you know, maybe there's some geniuses, comedian geniuses that are able to you know, just come up with material, boom, just like that, and it's no problem, you know, and they could, you know, it doesn't take too long, but a lot of them, I'm pretty sure they put a certain amount of time, effort, creativity into their work, their material. So for someone just to like see it, oh, that's funny, huh? I'm gonna use that on my next special, or I'm gonna use that on my next show. You know, like that's yeah, that's relatively, it's not good. It's a little grimy. Um, but that also segues into not Cat Williams, Steve Harvey's conversation with Monique. Let's revisit that, y'all. Let's revisit it. So we already remember back in the day. I shouldn't even say back in the day, but it was a minute ago, right? That whole like Precious movie, and with Monique and that whole uproar with Oprah and Tyler Perry and what's his name, Daniels, whatever the man's name is. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The Daniels guy. When that uproar happened, whatever year that movie came out, that was a minute ago. Now, I do remember thinking at that time, like, oh, well, you know, why is Monique complaining? She agreed to the amount. You know, it was $50,000, but she agreed to that amount. And now then she just suddenly, now she knows what comes along with, Monique knows what comes along with doing a movie. You know, you do a movie, you got to promote it, you got to da 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 da. But let's step back from that for a minute, right? Because that also ties in with the recent Taraji, right? It kind of ties in with that. Now we have Tyler Perry, and I'll get on to Tyler Perry. Like I said, I really even hate. You know, it's been some stuff circulating around Tyler Perry too. I like to think Tyler Perry is above that. A lot of what Tyler Perry has done, I respect it so much. He always tries to have like a good moral of the story or good, like, you know, something at the end. And I remember, you know, way back when he was doing the stage plays and stuff before he blew up. So I just hate to like, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But Monique, I mean, like, you know, like let's think about it. Let's put that into perspective now. You have Tyler Perry, and I'm pretty sure if he wasn't at a billionaire status, which he may have been way back when Precious came out, I'm sure he was, you know, dang on near close to it. You have billionaire Tyler Perry, you got Moneybags Oprah, and whoever else might have, you know, putting into the production of that movie, and then you're paying a star that won an Oscar. She wound up winning an Oscar or Oscar. Yeah, I believe she won an Oscar, right? Some with that. You only pay her $50,000. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. Somebody threw $50,000 at me, I'd be happy. But I'm not in a movie, and I'm not, you know, working with two billionaires that is really gonna like promote. You know what I mean? Like really think about that. Like I say, that ties in to me with Taraji. It ties in with the Taraji. It wasn't, well, I guess you could say the Taraji complaint, which was, and I believe it, that actors of color are not paid the same as their counterparts. They might, have been in just as many movies, whatever. It might have made just as much at the box office, but they are not, when it comes to the negotiation table and they have that tabling to sit down and start working numbers, they are just not offered the same amount of money that, white counterparts, white actors are offered. They just aren't. And I believe it because it doesn't just exist in Hollywood, that exists in the regular job market in general. So for one, what Taraji is saying is a fact. You could probably look up salaries and stuff like that and see that actors of color, they just don't make it. They just do not make the amount of money that their, white counterparts do. Okay, but let's back that up. Taraji had to say what she had to say about The Color Purple. Who was on it? Oprah. You also have Quincy Jones, a man of color. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, but I believe Quincy Jones is somewhere up there, billionaire status as well. I know Steven Spielberg, and I think those were the three. If it was a fourth one, you guys could drop it down in the comments. But that was Taraji's complaint. To back it up to Monique, Monique got a lot of backlash, and she was ultimately blackballed. She was labeled as hard to work with, which did ultimately, it did. I was going to say which did ultimately kill her career, but not necessarily, because she has, but then when you think about it, more of what she has done has been more like interviews rather than actual movies. She won an Oscar, but she's not being cast and stuff because of getting into a run-in with Oprah and Lee Daniels and Tyler Perry, I don't know, y'all. But anyway, Monique was on the Steve Harvey. Let's bring it back. Monique was on the Steve Harvey show, and Steve was basically telling Monique, how he gasped and he could not believe what she had said on her Netflix special, which it was. I remember that. And I do remember doing the same thing as Steve Harvey, like, oh my God, did she just say that? If y'all don't know what I'm saying, you guys could probably check it out on YouTube, because I know that they probably have a lot of different clips that you guys can check out for that. But Monique did say about Oprah, Lee Daniels, and I believe it was Tyler Perry, that if she had one, they could suck it. That's what she said. You guys, like I just did, but she did say that, basically it was surprisingly, yes, it was disrespectful. It was surprisingly disrespectful. And Steve Harvey was saying that he felt that she went about it the wrong way. And say that. A lot of stuff that, Monique disagreed with, which I can understand. Which I can actually understand, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm on my webcam and I have my phone out. I was trying to see if I could actually kind of pull it up. But what she was saying was that she just felt like, it was unfair, which, hindsight, I think that it was. It was unfair for her to be expected from the $50,000, which is incredibly low, to have a starring role in a movie that wins an Oscar. You got billionaires that have cast you, and you're only offered $50,000. But she was also expected out of that $50,000 to be able to like tour and promote the movie, which I guess goes along with, whatever, movie debuts and like the promotion of movies. But she just felt like there should have been some kind of like, I guess you could say like travel expenses or like some sort of like travel account set aside for her to do the touring, and that she shouldn't have to take money out of that $50,000, which I understand, to go touring around. I don't know if it was around the globe or if it was just nationally, but I feel her. But unfortunately, that was not the right move for her career, because after that, pretty much she did the Netflix special, and she's been on other like podcasts and interviews, pretty much talking about that stuff. Other than that, so yeah, but the point of that, if you guys actually check out that video with Steve Harvey was saying that, you can't talk like that, and we're black out here, which I get what he's saying. He's saying, in other words, that we, people of color cannot get away with saying things that maybe people, that are, non-people of color, white people say. Like, we can't get away with that. And that she went about it the wrong way. And the moment that she said that, it took the attention off of the real issues and da 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 da. And Monique was just saying that, that's what Steve said. That's what Steve was saying, that it's not a black game, it's not a white game, it's a money game, and you can't make a point, call yourself standing up making a point, because there's people behind you that depend on you to, I guess, to generate money for them as well, that benefit, family or friends or whoever. And you cannot make a stance like that. You can't make a stance, because when you do that, you jeopardize your career and you let down people that are dependent on you and such and such. And Monique was just basically saying, which I agree, which was that before it's a black game, white game, it's also an integrity game. So if something is wrong, and you guys can drop comments down below, let me know what you guys think, before something is deemed as wrong, or I'm sorry, not before something is deemed as wrong, but before, I should say, when you deem something that to be wrong, to be whatever it is, it could be whatever, morally against your beliefs, whatever. Like, if you don't stand for something, which is like an actual real quote, but if you don't stand for something, then you basically go for anything. And at what point do you keep compromising for a paycheck? Excuse me, guys. At what point do you keep compromising, because you're trying to sustain money flow? And I think that's a hell of a point. You guys can let me know what you guys think. But in that actual video, what I said was that I felt that, like I was saying, I wasn't trying to go real Umar Johnson. I wasn't trying to go real Umar on it, or Dr. Umar. But I was just saying that what I find is that a lot of times, and I'm not saying that we don't, black people, that, people of color, that we don't like stand up and protest and things like that, because we definitely do. I do think a lot of times, though, that the things that we say sometimes don't resonate, doesn't have the gravity of, maybe another group that might protest. When we do it, sometimes it does kind of fall on deaf ears a bit, unless we are able to kind of congregate with other people to come and help us and like unite with us for a cause. But aside from that, I do feel like a lot of times, unfortunately, you know, due to our history, due to things that have happened to us, we don't really have that like community collective way of operating. You know what I mean? Like we have gone through a lot. People of color, Black people, we have gone through a lot. And because we've gone through a lot, it is like almost like survival instincts, right? You know what I mean? It's almost like a survival, take care of me, get me out of this situation type of deal. And we don't really operate collectively. You know what I mean? We say, oh, forget about money. I mean, we say not forget about money. We say forget about, it's not a Black thing, it's not a white thing. This is a money thing. I'm trying to get my bag. I'm trying to, get this money. And for one thing, I think when you have that kind of mentality, especially stepping into Hollywood, into the music industry or whatever, but especially like those types of industries, you're going to be in for a ride. If you do not have anything that kind of like tethers you, holds you down, where you say, well, no, I won't cross this line, or no, my principles, my morals, I'm not, willing to do this or that or whatever. But if you do have that kind of like get my bag at any cost, you're going to really, I mean, to me, in my eyes, that's really what Hollywood and the music industry is really kind of built upon. And it shouldn't be. It should just be off of like really the talent and skill of acting or singing or dancing or whatever, performing. But a lot of it is like, that's what, Hollywood is like, come on, like join us. If you have that type of mentality that you don't mind stepping on people, you don't mind whatever, doing whatever you got to do to get that bag at the end of the day, you're going to find yourself at a lot of Diddy parties and a lot of compromising type of situations just to get money at the end of the day. Which, if you think about it, if you are doing it for your family or you're doing it for your loved ones, friend, whoever, they should love you enough to not want you to be in that kind of compromising situation, because there's a lot of ways in this world to get money. It just is. It's a lot of different ways. But to stay in something that is compromising, it's morally like that's, I don't know, Steve. I don't know about that. But anyway, so if you guys check out that interview, like I say, I have that. That was about 4 days ago when that was initially uploaded. And so that video, it covered Mark Curry doing his joke, which was, clearly it was like dun 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 verbatim. And then they showed Mark Curry. The next was shown was Steve Harvey on his show, right? Love Steve, love his delivery, how he rolls out with his comedy and stuff. But it was verbatim. It was Mark Curry's work. And that's messed up, especially when you have, which I guess is why they're able to do it. But I was going to say, especially when you have someone who is talented like Mark Curry, but didn't quite reach, that plateau like, Cedric and Steve and a lot of Kevin Hart's and stuff like that. But Mark Curry, very to your work, because I guess he's still performing. He's still, going, almost said still going live. But no, he's still doing his stand-up and stuff like that. But you have somebody that's like literally sitting back watching you to try to like siphon and steal and take your work. It's messed up, y'all. I don't know. I don't know about that, Steve. Disappointing. I don't know. And maybe that's some of the I was about to, within me saying that that's disappointing, I'm also saying that I guess that's some of the problem with, when we worship celebrities, we feel like, they could do no wrong, or they're above doing the stuff that we know whoever, a coworker, a friend, a neighbor, or someone at school, at work, whatever, can do. Celebrities, they're just people that have made a name for themselves, that likely are on some type of platform and probably have a backing, a fan base or something like that, but they're just people at the end of the day. And that includes Steve Harvey, who is bogus for doing that. And this was the other thing too, you guys, because like I said, when I would post a short video, or I would, whether it was on this platform, YouTube, or whether it was on TikTok, when I would post a video of Steve Harvey, like I said, I would get a lot of, not always, but because I got a lot of likes, I had videos that would go viral with that content, with Steve Harvey content, but I would get like the comments of like mentioning Bernie, and he was bogus for Bernie and this, that. I didn't know what he was talking. I didn't know what people was talking about. And I guess I should have taken the time to like look it up, but I'm just like, I don't know. But apparently when Ocean's 11 came out, you guys tell me, leave comments if Ludacris was in it too. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously Bernie Mac was in it. He was cast in it. And supposedly back in the day, Bernie Mac had did a interview with some magazine, and he let it be known, he didn't lie. He let it be known that Steve Harvey, after Bernie Mac was already cast in Ocean's 11, Steve Harvey actually like called up the studio or the director or whoever, and was basically saying like, I would be a better fit. I would be a better fit for the role. Are you sure you want to cast Bernie Mac? Like, ouch. Now, I don't know if the Kings of Comedy came out before Ocean's 11. I think that it probably did. I'm not 100% sure, but that's rough. Even if they hadn't actually worked together on Kings of Comedy and only knew each other in passing, that's like pretty rough, pretty bogus to go behind, a casting decision that's already been made, and you're going to actually go behind the decision that's already been made for somebody else and say, hey, are you sure you want to choose so-and-so? Don't you think I would be much better? Don't you like, that's pretty rough. But that was allegedly, not even allegedly, but that's what Bernie Mac said allegedly happened. And I would say, no, I don't think so. No, not Steve. But knowing what we know about Mark Curry, you guys, like, I wouldn't doubt it. And knowing the statement that he made with Monique, basically saying that she was wrong to, have integrity and jeopardize her career when, it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a money thing, and you don't do that, and like. And I get what he's saying. I do think that some of what Steve Harvey's saying does hold truth, and I get it. But at the same time, if, stuff can be compromised, I don't know. Somebody can sway direction if they hold up a bag because it's a money game, then what won't you do? What won't you do? Where's your line? I don't know. But yeah, so let's move on. You guys can leave comments. Like I say, even if you guys are not seeing this live, that is perfectly all right. Just, you could watch it on, whatever. Replay, any comments. But what I also wanted to cover, you guys, was the Tiffany Haddish. But before I get into Tiffany Haddish, what did you guys think about Katt Williams and Jim Carrey? Now, I know that Jim Carrey. I've been hearing things, you guys. I've been hearing things about like Jim Carrey being more spiritual now, and I don't know, just being real vocal with like, I don't know, like spiritual stuff, his beliefs and things like that. Um, I knew it had been like a gap of him really acting. Now, when Sonic came out, and it did really well, it's a really good movie. I know he's been in Sonic 1 and 2. I don't know if it's been like a Sonic 3 yet. But that was kind of like a debut because we hadn't seen Jim Carrey on the big screen in a minute. Now, apparently, supposedly, according to the video that I saw, with Katt Williams, Jim Carrey, Jim in the interviews that Jim Carrey did, I am shocked, you guys. I'm shocked that those did not like go viral. Now, maybe at the time of those videos, I don't know exactly when, but it was technology around, so I'm shocked that those videos did not go viral. But you guys check out the video. Like I say, I uploaded it today, about 5 hours ago. Even if you guys are not watching it now, because this is a Friday night, I hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. If you guys are bored, you ain't got nothing to do, come join me on this chat. But even still, like I say, later, you guys can check out the Katt Williams and Jim Carrey. Both have interviews that have broken the internet. I think that's the topic of my video. And Jim Carrey went on Jimmy Kimbel. Was it Jimmy Kimbel? I think it was Jimmy Kimbel. Went on Jimmy Kimbel and was throwing up the Beyonce, Jay-Z sign and sticking his tongue out through it. He did it about 3 different times before he actually sat down and had a seat. And Jimmy Kimbel, and this interview I'm sure happened a minute ago, so some of you guys may have already seen it. If you have seen it, drop it into the chats. But Jimmy Kimbel was like, "Oh, what's that? Is that a gang sign? What are you doing?" Like, and then Jim Carrey literally said to Jimmy Kimbel, he was like, "Oh, like you don't know." Whoa. And you just see Jimmy Kimbel looking like is this really happening? Like, is he really like, whoa? And that video plays out, that interview, as it plays out, Jim Carrey goes in more and more, like just talking about different stuff, talking about like the government and secret society. Like it was a no holds bar. To me, that was right up there with the Katt Williams interview. Right up there. I was like, whoa. That was right up there. Again, Jim Carrey, incredibly brave. And then he did another interview. I don't know if that interview was close to the Jimmy Kimbel interview, but Jim Carrey did another interview where he was like on the red carpet for, I don't know what award show it was. It was some award show to honor the icons of the century or the decade or within the industry, whatever. And he was, how I could waste my time today to come ridiculous. Like he went in, and it almost makes you wonder, like, if you really feel that way, then like, why did you attend? Like you shouldn't have attended. But I guess he attended just to like talk like that to be interviewed, to talk like that, because like, I'm not saying what he's saying is not valid, because he's basically saying like, wake up people, like this is like meaningless. We're idolizing icons. People are getting dressed up to give awards to people they think are so important. Like I'm guessing that was the mode of Jim Carrey's thoughts, as well as the point he was trying to like convey. But I said, whoa. Even the woman that was interviewing, like her eyes got big and she's like, well, I mean, no, we're here to honor icons, Like she was like thrown off as well. So nice long period of time that, and I know he was the only one that actually spoke out against the Will Smith, Chris Rock, Oscar slap, because after that happened, you still saw like actors like laughing and smiling and cheering for Will and all that kind of stuff. Like you still notice that. Jim Carrey was the only one, him and I think maybe somebody else, that actually spoke out and was saying like, this is like crazy. Like, why would people be cheering on some type of like stuff like that, But anyway, regardless, Jim Carrey pretty much stayed out of the spotlight, I would say, for a minute. Like I said, he attended that. So I guess the Oscar slap was what was that, 2021? Or was it 2022? I don't know. But, I guess he may have been there for the Sonic stuff, which was 2020. But it was a nice period of time of Jim Carrey not acting like at all, like not really being on there. But if you guys watch the video, it's still some crazy stuff, like some very weird, crazy stuff, like after his interview with Jimmy Kimbel and him like being very vocal and like talking out against the group and powers that be and like making that kind of like his platform. His girlfriend, ex-girlfriend or somebody was found unalive, and they was trying to like tie him to it because they say she overdosed. It was like some really weird stuff. That after that, Jim Carrey was not vocal no more. After that, y'all, Jim Carrey was not too vocal. I think they were showing like something he had written, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had not written, but pretty much they were saying that after that, he was just dedicating his time to focusing in on art because he's like a visual artist, painting, canvases, sketching, I guess, whatever. Like he's an artist, a visual artist. And he was just saying that he just wants his peace, his quiet, and just to concentrate on painting he wants a quiet life. So I guess after all that stuff, he said, well, let me just stay out of the spotlight, y'all. Because if I'm in the spotlight, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but let me just kind of stay out of it. I'm interested to know what made him. Now I've heard before that they say some celebrities that choose to stay out of the spotlight typically don't come back unless they really got to pay some bills. Like unless they really need the money, like they do not, like they don't come back. They just kind of stay on. Like I heard the same thing for Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton, they say, is not really in the Hollywood scene. He doesn't really care for the Hollywood scene, and he only comes out like a cicada, like once every 16 years to make a movie, and then he's like gone. And then, I guess that's just to like get his bills paid. And then, like I said, there are some actors that, really do not want to be in the scene. Jim Carrey, after all that craziness and them trying to like tie him into like her unaliveness, certain words I can't say, after him being vocal and throwing up, signs of the group and, talking so explicitly about Hollywood and stuff, I guess he said he would just rather stay out of the scene. Now, I'm guessing with the Sonic movies, maybe he had some bills to pay, and that's why he came back. I don't know. But he was vocal at the Oscars with the whole like Will Smith, Chris Rock slap. And his opinion was the unpopular opinion until more people started talking about it in social media. And then stars like for PR had to kind of like say like, oh yeah, I don't condone that. I don't think that was, the right thing, da, 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 da. Yet when after that happened and Will Smith accepted his Oscar and all that kind of stuff, all you saw was smiles and cheers and like, yay for Will from the audience, which was nothing but celebrities. And they didn't really seem to have too much empathy for Chris Rock or really care. But like I say, after that happened, Jim Carrey was really the only one that really kind of like spoke in opposition of Will's actions. And, it wasn't until like social media really kind of like broke stuff down, really, that other celebrities kind of like jumped onto the bandwagon. It was like, oh yeah, no, I don't condone. I don't think that was the right thing. Da 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 da. So I don't know, you guys. But yeah, so those are like kind of like my little thoughts on that. But let's segue over to Katt Williams and Tiffany Haddish. Now, I will say this, you guys. I will say this. Whether I'm not like, from what I have seen, Tiffany Haddish, she is funny. She's funny. The movies that she has been in, stuff, I'm sure, well cast. Like, she's funny. She's good. But I do get Katt Williams' point in that, like, she kind of came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, she was in Girls Trip, and then after that, it was like Tiffany Haddish. But it wasn't like I don't know. Like, I guess you could say like a build up, like most celebrities or comedians where maybe they've done XYZ smaller roles, smaller parts, and then they get their big venue or platform, and then it's like you hear about, you know what I mean? Like even with Martin, I guess Martin had did Comic View. He had did a bunch of stuff, or Def Jam. He had did a bunch of stuff before he got his Martin show that blew up, and then started doing movies. So I get what Katt Williams is saying with Kevin Hart, although I think Kevin Hart is very funny. Some people don't think Kevin Hart is funny. I think Kevin Hart is really funny. But he was, Katt Williams was also saying the same thing with Kevin Hart as with Tiffany Haddish, which is that like they literally kind of like came out of nowhere, right? But Tiffany Haddish, she had her things to say. And someone had like filmed it from the audience at one of her like stand-up shows. Where was that? It said something beach. So I don't know where she was at exactly. But Tiffany Haddish had gave like her comeback. She was like, I was on That's So Raven, and I did extras in black TV shows, white TV shows, or whatever. Like she probably did. I'm sure that she did. I don't think that she was like brand new to Hollywood, to the scene or anything like that. But those are like kind of smaller roles. You know what I mean? Like that's not like a sudden like leading role that led to like the blow up that we see now. So I get what Katt Williams is saying. But, I don't know. Tiffany Haddish I guess she clapped back and was saying that Katt Williams has DA, I can't say certain words on YouTube, but with, using. And then like she pointed out, I think she pulled up on like social media a picture that she had taken with him. And you could see a clipper for a lighter clipper in his pocket that she had like circled and was like, I didn't think he had a problem, but now I think he does because look at the, what was he lighting up or what? I don't know. But whatever. I mean, a lot of the stuff sounds petty, but I think the point of it was the larger picture, which was what Katt Williams was kind of trying to bring to the forefront, which was that there are people that already have agreements with the industry. They already have agreements with the group, with the powers that be. And once they kind of make those agreements, then they are able to reach higher heights, higher levels. Because there's some that you see are super talented and you don't know why they never, how is it that, I don't know, somebody who's new on the scene might not, have as much experience or done as much, suddenly are randomly like giving their own show or movie or you know, like where does that come from? So Cat Williams, his, you know, what he had to say was definitely controversial. To actually say somebody is like a Hollywood like plant, that's quite a statement, but it needed to be made. So I guess he said that about Tiffany Haddish, who's still very funny. He said that about Kevin Hart. But I don't know. You guys leave comments. Like I say, even if you guys are not watching this live, while it's live, it's all good. You guys can still leave comments. You know, what do you guys think? Like, do you all think that, you know, Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, that they are people that maybe, you know, attended the parties like Cat Williams talks about? Maybe they attended the parties and got the contract, and now, you know, are like huge major successes. I think Kevin Hart now has his own network, the LOL network or something like that. I'm not saying he's not deserving of it, because I think he's very funny. But just saying. Also, people are saying that Tiffany Haddish should have just like not attempted to do any kind of clapback, because they, you know, just felt that it was kind of like a, you know, it just didn't work. But let me know what you guys think. I also covered, oh, you guys. So, y'all, I also covered Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker has, you know, since way back in the day when he came out, you know, I've always been a Chris Tucker fan. I think that he's, not only is he hilarious and talented, but, you know, I love all the Rush Hour movies. You know, like I say, Friday, pretty much any movie that I could think of that Chris Tucker has been in. Hilarious, excellent movie. I always loved him growing up. You know, when I was a kid, I was like, I want to make it to Hollywood so I can meet Chris Tucker. You know, like I always loved Chris Tucker. But, and then even on my last live, when I actually addressed, the whole, like, his Cat Williams and his Club Shay Shay interview, Cat Williams has said, he said, like, you know, Chris Tucker, are you talking about the Smokey from Friday, or are you talking about the Island, Chris Tucker? You know, and that was like a whoa. Like, I think that even threw off Shannon Sharp, where he was just like, whoa, oh my God. Like, okay, all right, next question. Let's get, like, you know, like, let's move on. But I did address that in my last live. And like I was saying in my last live, that I felt that, you know, I was giving it some benefit of the doubt, because I felt like even if the media claims that Chris Tucker or Michael Jackson, or, you know, even if that claim was made that they were on the flight list, on the plane, on the flight list, you know, and that doesn't necessarily have to be true. I felt like, you know, that's the same media that would not give The Sound of Freedom, Mel Gibson's movie, any coverage. So could we really trust the names that they're throwing out? None of us sees the list. We don't know. So basically, I was giving it like a big, you know, benefit of the doubt. But in the video, if you guys check out the video was, that video, y'all, was 3 days ago. It was done 3 days ago. And in that video, you guys, Chris Tucker is actually saying, he was like, oh, yeah, he was literally like, you know, and it could have been a nervous laugh, and I get it. Like, that's some heavy hitter type of like content. How about I do this? I know you ain't no really Marques Houston, so let's just, you're a wild cat. Okay. Wait, let me see here. Wait. Mm-hmm. Y'all silly. Okay, but anyway, you ain't no more. And if you are, then you are bogus as you know what. Because I personally, I believe Raz B. Okay, you're not no Marques Houston, and we know this. But if you are, then shame on you. Allegedly, shame on you. Okay, because I believed Raz B back in the day. Because when they was doing that bomb, 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 it didn't look right. The song was good, but I'm just saying, still, like I don't know, they was dressed awfully spicy. Okay, so I believe when Raz B back when that came out and was an unpopular opinion, I believed it because I'm like, I don't know. But like I say, at the time of Raz B, when he made those allegations, that was not a popular opinion. He actually got a lot of backlash from that. People laughed at him. They thought that he, something was wrong with him. Why are you lying on people? And they like literally kind of like disconnected from him. Which now we're learning, that yeah, it's a lot that goes on in the music industry, a lot. So if you are, shame on you, but I don't think that you are. Okay. Yeah. You. All right. I'm so silly, you guys, but you feel me. Okay. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So back to Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker said, but I appreciate you still for being on the live chat, making the live. This is what going live is about. Okay. I appreciate you. Marques Houston Impersonator. I appreciate you because this is what makes the live. Okay. But anyway, back to Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker on the video that I posted, which was 3 days ago, that video, which was, obviously a reaction video, that, where people found clips of him responding to, his name being listed. Now it's a part of me though that still hopes that maybe, just maybe, what he's saying is 100 is above board. But, Chris Tucker did a lot of smiling, laugh. It could have been nervous laughter, and I get it. Could have been nervous laughter. That's some serious type of stuff to be asking somebody. But he was asked, did you know him? Did you know Epstein? And he's like, oh yeah, like literally like laughing like that. Oh yeah, yeah, I flew on the plane. Yeah, I was on there. But that, I was with Bill Clinton and I was with Kevin Spacey and we flew out. Now, Kevin Spacey, you all. Kevin Spacey, I'm going to say allegedly, but I probably shouldn't even say allegedly because I don't know whether or not they actually got him, but they said something like 15 counts. Before Kevin Spacey, the other additional 15 counts of people, males, I'm guessing males and some females, saying that, young things happened to them that Kevin Spacey did. Somebody that was, another star had first, put that out there or whatever. It's Kevin Spacey. You don't see his picture all in the news. I think it made like a little, I don't even think it made a wave. It made a ripple. And then that was it. Kevin Spacey might still be acting, like nothing like really came of that. But Kevin Spacey, you got Bill Clinton on the plane and stuff. It's Epstein's plane. Now, Chris Tucker, claims that it was just a something like a what do you call it? Some trip to Africa for like whatever. What did he say? I forgot what it. But anyway, it was supposed to be like a humanitarian type of trip. Specific name of it or whatever, I don't know, but it was supposed to be like a humanitarian trip. So I hope that's the case. I really hope it's the case. But to me, he did way too many, it was way too many like laughs and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, like it was nothing to laugh about. Like, and I've always considered Chris Tucker my boo, but like it's nothing to laugh about. Like, why are you laughing? I don't know. Could have been just nervous laughter. But the culprits that were on the plane ain't looking too good. That on that that crew, that clique is not sounding too right. So, but how I feel is, even though I have built a lot of my content on this channel, on this platform, as well as on TikTok, I have a lot of Chris Tucker platform. Platform. I have a lot of Chris Tucker content that I've posted. But how I feel like this, unfortunately, a lot of times we get it confused. I think that we confuse, like, because you're a dedicated fan and you love all of, like, whatever the movies they've been in, or you know every line and every album, and you know whatever, you watched every interview that they've done, and you know their favorite color and breakfast and food and all that. Like, we get, like, I know them as a like, you, like, at the end of the day, people are people. And I think the problem is, like, when we really, like, hold these celebrities up so high that, in a sense, it's not even fair to them, because at the end of the day, they are people. You know, they got to eat, they got to sleep, they got to use the bathroom, they got to do all the stuff that regular people do. And, you know, like, don't, you know, like, oh, well, you're not a true fan if you even believe this. Like, you know, that's the problem. And I think, too, aside from, like, technology not really being around, you know, whatever, decades ago, or, you know, like, you know, how we're able to, like, share stuff and, like, just take a picture, whatever, we could video stuff, you know, record stuff real fast, share it. But aside from that, I think it's our, like, holding celebrities up so high that anything that we don't want to hear, we just block it out. Like, oh no, I don't want to hear anything about, oh no, I don't, like, no, like, not like, if some stuff is bogus, then it's bogus. It's what it is. It's bogus, it's bogus. And I'm not going to say 100%, because it's a part of me, just in general, that just wants to believe that it was a humanitarian trip. But I wouldn't bank no money on it. Based off of the people that's on that plane, the crew, the clique he's hanging out with on that plane, whose plane it is, it ain't looking too good. So that's just how I personally feel. You know, I really hate to think that, but it is what it is. And I'm not going to, like, paint it in a different light because I love all the Rush Hour movies, or, you know, whatever. I you know, think he's the funniest man, and he, you know, whatever, he was friends with Michael Jackson. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So if you want that, you gotta go to another channel that does that, because I don't do that. But yeah, you guys. But yeah, so you're making me get into Marques Houston Impersonator. Is making me get into today's video that I posted. Kind of harder content to really, like, digest a bit. The Omarion interview exposes Chris Stokes and Marques Houston and Diddy. Diddy was on a song with B2K back in the day, along with, as we know, Chris Stokes managed, or whatever, that was his group. And Marques Houston just always has been, like, there, you know. And we know Marques Houston also used to be, he went from rapping or singing, rapping, whatever, immature back in the day, to acting. But he and Chris Stokes have always been like this, and still are. Now, like I say, you can believe what you want to believe, because all this we're going to say allegedly, because unless somebody really, like, has some stuff like this is it, we can only say allegedly. But by Raz B's opinion being the unpopular opinion at the time, and it was very unpopular, and he still stood his ground, and I believe still stands his ground. about what happened to him, and then there was some other singer, rapper, or whatever who in the video is covered. I'm not familiar with them, but like I said, that video gets a little bit on the, more explicit side, but I felt that it's necessary. Even though a lot of that stuff is hard for me to listen to, I feel like it's necessary because us not listening to it, not wanting to hear the more uncomfortable things is what allows that to continue in the music industry and allows it to continue in Hollywood and in all these other different sectors. Because believe me, those are not the only industries I'm positive that happens in. But by us not really listening to that stuff or wanting to hear it and only wanting to hear, like the positive, make us laugh, make us smile, type of deal, that's why stuff is able to continue. But you guys can check that out. I don't really have to revisit that because I really feel like that's something that you need to like either really want to hear or like don't hear. But maybe you don't believe it, whatever, that's fine. But allegedly, that is, what happened to Raz B. But even back in the day, like, and this is not like, a diss or anything like that, but even way back in the day, to me, some of their outfits and stuff with the belly tops and stuff like that was starting to look pretty spicy. Okay, pretty saucy, pretty spicy. But they are entertainers, so I know, like, whatever goes in entertainment. But for him to come out later and say like this and that, like, I'm not shocked. Not shocked. And now Chris Stokes has a bunch of movies on Tubi. He has a bunch of movies on Tubi. He's starred Marques Houston in a lot of his movies. So what it is, make of it what you shall. Okay, I'm getting extra dramatic. Make of it what you shall. Okay. What else? I'm trying to see what else, you guys. But yeah, you guys drop it in the chat. Let me know what you think on those topics. I'm just trying to see what else. Because I really, like I say, I don't want to do what I did before, which was I waited until the very end, which it was still fun, you guys, but I went live like consecutively for like, I don't know, like 4 days. I kept going live because I was trying to like wrap up the year's videos that I did, and then the ones that were like more popular or went viral, those videos I like wanted to make sure that I kind of like covered. And some, even like video shorts, I wanted to give my opinion because, like, especially like in the short videos, a lot of times, like, I won't necessarily give my opinion, but just based off of me even like posting something, people, oh yeah, this is what she means. And yeah, I know she, like they'll like really run with it. And for me, that was like my opportunity to kind of do like a nice little wrap up and say like, this is my opinion on it. This is what I mean. Like it, dislike it, whatever, don't matter. I'm entitled to my opinion like you are. Like they say, opinion is like, what, everybody has one, okay? But yeah, so I didn't want to quite do that. But I'm trying to see what else. So that was the Raz B one, the B2K one. We had our Marques Houston Impersonator that was up in here, y'all. He said I need to take that video down. Wow, okay. What else? Oh, I could even actually talk about the Chris Brown, how he auditioned for Diddy back in the day. So it was a quick clip that Chris Brown did with Shannon Sharpe. How recent that interview is, I don't know. I know it was like last year, sometime last year, and I think that was actually, according to Shannon Sharp, that video was actually like recorded at Chris Brown's house. But Chris Brown was saying that when he was like 11, 12, he had auditioned for Diddy. He did not get it. Diddy was more interested in his friend than him. He told Chris Brown that he could, kind of step out of the room, that he wasn't, he was going to he wanted to work with his friend, another guy. But I just thought that was so like, that's something, right? You guys, like, in a sense, as we know, most of the time, rejection, it is a form of protection. Not always, but a lot of times, like things that we're like, oh no, I didn't get it. We might cry our eyes out. We might feel some type of way. We're angry. We're mad. Or why didn't it? And sometimes we're lucky when we are able to get that, high insight moment where we're like, thank you freaking, like, thank God. Thank God. Because if I had went with that, there's no way I would be right here right now. Or this had happened, and then there's times where we actually still don't see it, but I'm sure higher perspective, right? It's a reason. It's a reason why things need to go a certain way. But I mean, somebody had also left a comment in that short video saying like, that doesn't mean, like, I'm sure he still got, whatever, because, something still happened to him, because that's what happens to artists in the music industry. Maybe, I don't know. I'm more inclined to think that what he's saying is probably true than untrue, but we don't know. We do know that Diddy didn't get him. He wasn't diddled by Diddy, as the comment was saying, which was actually kind of funny. He was saying he was not diddled. Thankfully, he was not diddled, as we know, by, Diddy, because he was not selected or chosen. But that video, because it was short, I couldn't like actually play the whole thing. But it was showing that, or I should say it was showing, but Chris Brown was saying that he felt, he was really upset, when you're a kid, or just sometimes you don't even have to be a kid, but you feel like, oh, the world is over. I didn't get it. Like you really like, that's it. And he said he got on the elevator and he was just so upset. He was crying. He was just really, like upset, but like high insight, y'all. Now that we know what, allegedly what goes along with Diddy contracts and Diddy parties and working with Diddy, that was nothing but a blessing. That was nothing but a blessing. I can't speak to what may have transpired later or with another producer or label or whatever. I don't know. But we do know so far that, Diddy, what did he do? And it's messed up. So, yeah, you guys, it's getting late. And I'm trying to, okay, I'm going to wrap it up with this one. You guys. So the Gene Deal interview that he did, Gene Deal talked about Usher. Okay, he talked about Usher. He talked about Mace, as well as, I think he went on talking about D.L. Hughley. But he was talking about Usher and Mace, and he was talking about how, like, back in the day that Cameron and Mace went to Diddy's house allegedly, and y'all have to check that out because it's like some wild stuff that I don't even know if I could actually say on this live. But yeah, Gene Deal was saying that they found all kind of toys, adult toys, male adult toys in Diddy's sink. Yes, in Diddy's sink. And At that time, though, Mace was living with Diddy. I didn't know that. I remember them back in the day, but I did not know that Mace was living with Diddy. That's the part I don't get. Like when they got all this money and stuff like that, what is the purpose of? I mean, granted, yes, they might be up late, like working on songs or stuff like that, but like, what is the purpose of actually like grown men or not even? I don't know how old Mace was. Mace might actually still have been a teen at that time, so I don't know. But like, what is the purpose of that? Like, I don't get like that whole like living with. But Mace lived with Diddy. So did Usher. And Usher's story is a little bit different in that Usher, and I said this on that video so you guys can check that out. And I think I might have actually mentioned it on a live because when I found it, I was like, what? But Usher, all right, hey there, Roy. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining my live. Okay, so far I got you and Marques Houston that joined. But or Marques Houston Impersonator. But yeah, what's up, Roy? But yeah, so Usher, when Usher was 10 years old, he was on some label and he did some album, but his first album was like a flop. And his label did not drop him, but what they did was like they assigned him or told him that he had to spend a year, or it was like either a year or a summer. I'm thinking it was closer to a year because Usher's mom wound up having to give Diddy temporary custody of Usher at age 10. So I'm guessing it must have been like more than a summer. It must have been like a year that that Usher had to go live with Diddy. But it was like Diddy had to groom him for the music industry to help him to become a better artist. Just saying, I'm not, not going to go any further than that. But Diddy had something called like a flavor camp, which is also what Justin Bieber at a young age. I don't know if Justin Bieber was like 13, 14 or whatever, something like that. Child. He was children. But he went to stay with Diddy, and Diddy was showing like cars and all this stuff, telling him like, oh yeah, when you turn 16, this is yours. And that's, like all this. I don't know, y'all. All I know is that Gene Deal in his interview was saying that basically that no one, Cassie, she knew stuff too, obviously, and had to take part in stuff. But Gene Deal was saying that Usher and Mace definitely know a lot more about Diddy that's not being said. So, and then the interviewer, the guy that interviewed, was like, well, why did you mention Usher, and why are you, whatever? And he was saying because they lived with him like as children. So that's some heavy hitter stuff, you guys. But I just say, like, even though this is like more of like kind of the unsavory stuff that we don't always kind of like to talk about, or even think about or talk about, I think is necessary because whether they're musicians, they're models or actors or whatever, you have these young people that really are pretty like naive. They might be super talented or beautiful or handsome, whatever, talented people that just feel like, man, if I could just get out to Hollywood and I just know they would sign me, or I could just get out to wherever music industry, I know they would, I'm so talented, I know I could get signed, or I know I could get a contract or whatever. They probably could, but they should know all of what comes along with that stuff. So yeah, so those are my thoughts, you guys. I randomly hopped on here. I hope you guys are having a fun. We're having a good weekend. The weekend's just kicking off. If you guys were bored, right? It's Friday. You could have come chat with your girl. Shouts out to Roy and to Marques Houston Impersonator for being on this on my live. Appreciate ya. And like I say, I just was using this more so as a time to just kind of recap from the previous week or even the week before, any videos that I put out that, you know, maybe deserved a little bit more, not explaining, but, you know, a little bit more conversation behind it. And I'm trying to see what other ones. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, the Gene Diddy. Oh no. And then the last Gene deal, since we're on Gene deal, we may as well wrap it up with Gene deal. Is Gene deal exposing Diddy and Diddy being obsessed with Tupac. I did not know that Tupac and Diddy started off as being cool with each other. I don't know how tightly they were running, but they were supposedly really cool with each other. Then all of a sudden they were not. Now, you know, knowing what we know about Diddy, you know, Tupac, he did look really good. I don't know if Diddy came on to him or said something and Pac wasn't with it or what, but all of a sudden supposedly they fell out. But Gene Deal was saying that that Diddy was just like very kind of obsessed with them, you know. Like I say, take Hollywood to the side, right? We have people that, you know, regular every day, right? Whoever that likes to, like, you know, whatever, stalk our social media, watch everything. They don't miss a thing. Maybe they, you know, stay in the shadows. They don't comment. They don't like anything, but they're studying you. They're, you know, trying to see what they, you know, really like studying your style or the way you say things or the way you do things or what you dress, how you wear things. Really kind of sit creepy, but, you know, trying to copy your style. So basically, Gene Deal was saying that that's kind of like what Diddy was doing. Like, I guess he felt like maybe he was in some kind of competition with Pac. Pac probably didn't even know it was any competition. It really wasn't, because it was really just basically Diddy copying behind everything that Pac had did. Like people that Pac messed with, and Diddy had to make sure he messed with them, or different styles and stuff like that that Pac had. Diddy would try to like basically copy that, according to Gene Deal. So I don't know. We got the movie Single White Female. I guess Diddy was single black male in the shadows, watching. I'm just saying. I'm not trying. You know. I'm just saying. It's creepy. It's creepy. And now that we know more about Diddy, it's very creepy. Very, very creepy. Just saying. Well, anyway, you guys, I'm going to wrap up this live. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. I enjoyed it. I will see you guys. I don't know. I kind of covered more than what I had planned on it. I may or may not hop on here tomorrow, but if I do, you guys, I hope you guys hit the notification bell so you will know. And I will see you guys. I hope you guys have a great night, an excellent weekend. Do something fun, and I will see you guys later. Bye. See you guys.